All right, welcome back to Getting Sober again. And today I'm answering another one of your questions. And the question is, why did I stop drinking? Or why did you stop drinking? So has anybody ever asked you that question? Comment below. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. All right, so why did I stop drinking? I think a lot of people assume that there's like some big event, some tragedy that happens, and like a DUI, or there was a big breakup, or you lost your home or your family or whatever. And some people wait until it's too late. I think a lot of us do that. We can be told that fire's hot all of our lives, but it's not until you touch it that you really know. And some people, I think a lot of people operate that way. And some people are smart enough to just be told like, hey, that's hot, don't touch it. And I think for the most part, we know and we heed to that advice. And then, every now and then our hand gets a little too close to the fire, so to speak. And we get burned. And we've gotten burned by alcohol in one way or another. If you feel like commenting what your biggest failure was or what your greatest loss was, comment below. But for me, there was always just kind of like the recognition of I could see my future. We can all see our future, right? In a way, not literally. What are tomorrow's lottery numbers? that Mega Million and Powerball, though. Anybody want to join a lottery pool with me? We'll split the winnings and be totally sober. But looking at the future, looking at your trajectory. If I asked you a simple question, I said, hey, if you drank a bottle of your favorite spirit every night, vodka, tequila, whatever it is, pick one. If you drank a fifth, every day for the rest of your, however long your life is going to be, what kind of quality of life do you think that you're going to have? And depending on where your journey is, some of you might be saying, "Oh, that sounds awesome," and then some of you might be saying, "That sounds like I'm certain that I'm going to die." Right? An interesting statistic with regard to dying is like in Russia, for example. Depending on what country we're talking about and what kind of alcohol they consume. So in Russia, compared to like say Britain, in Britain, you would probably guess they drink more beer, more lager, more of that than they drink straight liquor, right? Gin or vodka or what have you. But in Russia, for example, they consume a lot higher amounts of liquor, vodka specifically. And I don't need it. I feel like it's universal knowledge that people in Russia drink a lot of vodka, right? But so in Russia, the numbers of like the longevity amongst the Russian people is just a huge drop, because what ends up happening there is that people are drinking themselves to death, and they're not slowly, gradually getting say cirrhosis, liver, kidney issues, other cancers. They're not just deteriorating, they're just dying, right? And then other countries, like let's say in Britain, they're drinking a lot more beer. So they have more of their life to go. They're drinking less potent things, but over a greater period of time, and then dealing with the consequences of cirrhosis and other kidney, renal failures, other different cancers, things like that. So if I asked you again, if you have to drink, what do you think your life would be like if you drank a bottle of liquor every day for the rest of your life? You might say like, well, that's stupid. I'm probably going to die like those Russian people, or I'm probably going to end up with some sort of cancer like cirrhosis, or, whatever, bladder cancer, colon cancer, whatever kind of cancer, which nowadays, during this time that you and I share this existence, they say that in our lifetimes, 1 out of every 2 people is going to get some form of cancer. that's pretty depressing. And that's not saying that that's just from alcohol. It's from alcohol, it's from cigarettes, it's from the plastics, from all this pleather chair, from plastic, chemicals all over the place, plastic, plastic. There's chemicals all everywhere to make our lives more convenient, and we're making more convenient decisions and trading them off for less healthy decisions, right? And then also too, knowing that life is fleeting, we're not immortal, we only have so much time on this linear timeline. We're going to be born, we're going to die, and then all that space in between, we're going to do whatever we can to try to make ourselves happy. And so if we think about what our life is going to be as we get older, we know that it's going to start to deteriorate our body. And at some point, you either are going to get burned by it, you're going to end up finding yourself in the hospital or talking to your doctor, and they're going to find a growth somewhere or a tumor, or you're going to have less bodily functions than you did previously. You're going to have a slower, maybe mental, cognitive decline, a whole host of different symptoms. And when you look back at your life, you might wonder, depending on how old you are, you might wonder like, well, was it the cigarettes? Did I have asbestos in my walls? Was it from all the car exhaust? Was it from all the planes flying overhead and dissipating jet fuel exhaust on our heads every day? I mean, who knows? Where is it coming from? Is it from, I thought having microfiber blankets was a good idea, not thinking about like all the microfiber particles that are going all over the floor and into the air and then into your lungs, and you end up getting lung cancer, not even smoking, right? So what we can do, to try to avoid the burn of alcohol is to try to make a smart decision leading up to it. And I think a lot of us just don't have the discipline to make mature decisions before it's too late. And that's not just with alcohol, right? It's with anything, like with, I didn't believe that I was really ready to go to college. I went to college during college age, but I feel like I'm more mentally equipped now to take on college, to actually appreciate it, to actually have lived my life the way that I lived it, to be like, all right, I understand what the benefits were and, how much work I should have done and how much slacking off I could have gotten away with. But that's all hindsight, right? If you've ever squandered money, comment below. If you've been gifted money and it just goes away because you don't know how to manage it, comment below. If you've had great health and you've squandered it thinking that you could just eat whatever you want all day because you didn't, you ended up not gaining any weight. Like I'm one of those people, like I could eat basically whatever and then I don't gain any weight, but who knows what my insides look like. And, so when we think about our future, we can try to make a healthy decision now. And that goes back to the question, back to my point, which is why did I stop drinking? And it was really I was just tired of being afraid. And I don't know if a lot of people say this. I don't go to I've never been to any meetings or 12-step programs or whatever, but I was honestly just afraid of my life. I was afraid of, not my current life. Like I wasn't afraid of this, and my jacket and stuff, but I was afraid that I was holding myself back. I was afraid that, and I was of the opinion, and I believed, which again, they're not true, but it can be true if you believe it, then it's true, right? To a degree. And I believed that I wasn't going to be any more successful than I already was if I kept drinking. I didn't believe that I would be able to blossom and mature fully as a person if I didn't stop drinking. I didn't believe that I could be as healthy as I possibly could be or should be if I wouldn't stop drinking. In case in point, if you watched my 20 benefits of quitting drinking alcohol, however it's phrased, the 20 benefits. One of the first things they talked about was my blood pressure just in 30 days. My blood pressure on a night and it was a night of heavy drinking. I had to go to the doctor the next morning, and I totally forgot I had to go. I had to get some blood work done. And then the night before, I think I had something like 4 shots of moonshine, probably maybe let's say 2 tequilas and 2 beers. Let's say that's what it was, right? So 8 units of alcohol, but arguably, the moonshine is not a unit of alcohol. It's much higher. Like a beer is a unit of alcohol. And moonshine is twice the content of regular shot of alcohol that you would buy at a bar. So it's going to be more. So out of that 8, let's call it 10. So I had 10 units of alcohol that night. And then let's say my last drink was at like 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock. And then I had to go to the doctor the next day. Let's say that was at 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, if you know how your body and your liver and your kidneys and all that stuff, how it functions and filters out alcohol, it takes roughly an hour to filter out a unit of alcohol. So if I had 10 units of alcohol in my body, how many hours did it take to filter those 10 units of alcohol? It took 10 hours total. Not from the last drink, that's not how it works. Because if I was drinking for 4 hours, well, that subtracted 4. And then, so it took me 6 more hours after my last drink then to get rid of all of that. But the next morning, when I went to the doctor, my blood pressure was something like 160 or something crazy, whatever it was. I forgot whatever I said. If you want to go back and watch that video, I'll put a link up here. But it was like, let's say it was like 160 over 100 or whatever it was. It's never been that high in my life, but after just 30 days of quitting drinking alcohol, it went back to what I consider normal for me, which was 120 over 70 roughly. And that's what it was the other day when I went to get some more blood work done. So, I was projecting, I'm pretty good projecting the future and projecting a path. At least just being honest with myself and asking myself that question, like, hey, if we keep drinking, what's going to happen? Well, first of all, right now, according to my Quitzilla app, shout out to Quitzilla, not a sponsor, but I this particular stretch where I'm at right now, I think I'm at let's say I'm at 80 days straight of not drinking. And then I calculated, I think, let's say it was like $20 a day of not drinking. So if I was spending $20 a day drinking. So 20 times 80 is what, $1,600 that I've saved. So poof, all that money, I look at my checking account, it would be $1,600 less. And this is not a good time to have $1,600 less dollars, because during the taping of this video, this is during the pandemic, during the COVID pandemic. Not a lot of stuff open, especially for me as a photographer. So if you know of any photography or videography work, any weddings or any engagements coming up, any, whatever, birthdays, events, hit me up if you need a photographer, videographer. But I gotten burned a little bit over the years, just from hangovers, from not being the best representative, not being the best version of myself in relationships, maybe not being the best son, maybe not being the best cousin or nephew or whatever, not being the best partner during a relationship. Not to say that was bad. I just think if you interview any of those people, pretty good. And they probably say yeah, he just liked drinking a lot. And it wasn't I wasn't the fighter. I didn't drink and get into fights. I wasn't the weeper. I was the type of drinker that would I would drink and I'd get really happy and sociable. And then I might make a questionable decision or two before, maybe worst case scenario, I would turn into an online shit talker. I would turn into an online troll. I'd end up in the local comment section of my local newspaper or whatever. And, it'd be some Trump debate. And I'd be I'm gonna go set the record straight about people's perspectives, and that might be it. Or, if I felt like I was slighted about some opportunity, then, I'd go tarnish my reputation online and jump into somebody's feed and, put my foot in my mouth and look stupid. That would be the extent of it. It wasn't like I was hitting anybody or verbally assaulting anybody, but the occasional waking up and having that, oh no, who did I text and what did I text them last night dread, that type of thing. So sorry. And I've done my best to apologize to some of those individuals over the years and the last couple of months, but definitely the last couple of years, I definitely sent out some hearty apologies. So if you haven't done so, if you're on your sobriety journey, consider maybe doing some apologizing, because we would like to believe that we are a better version of ourselves now than we previously were, right? Hopefully you're making progress. And it is my strong opinion that you probably owe somebody out there an apology. You probably have, whether or not you remember, whether or not it affected you, it is strongly possible, it's a very strong possibility that you have affected somebody's life to some extent that they still carry around a certain level of trauma in their mind and in their heart to this day. And it would be very responsible of you to acknowledge that, at least acknowledge that you've created this pain within this person and take the steps that are necessary to potentially make it up to that person and help them to have a better future and a better existence by at least lifting a little bit of that weight off of their shoulders. That was probably your fault, right? But maybe that'll be a whole nother episode for the future. So, for now, why did I quit drinking was just because I saw where my life was going. I saw the path of where my life was going and I didn't like it. And some of the stuff that was on that path, which I think this is episode number 42. Stick around for tomorrow. I'm going to film episode number 43, and it's going to involve some celebrities. It's going to involve a trip 2 years ago about me falling off the wagon pretty hard 2 years ago. And it involves comedian Theo and Dave Chappelle and some debauchery. And I'll go into detail, maybe depending on how I feel, on one of the biggest dumb decisions of my life. But hindsight's 2020, right? And 2020 is literally in the past. And in hindsight, that's all in the past. So stick around for tomorrow's episode, and hopefully you got through this whole thing to know that I'm going to be filming that one tomorrow. And hopefully you're watching all these. Comment below, and if you haven't liked this video, like it. And even if you don't like it, just like it. And I will see you in the next video. Take care and good luck on your journey.